So it's been a while since we've met. Some of you were here for the September meeting. We didn't quite have a forum for that. So we have to go back to our August minutes. There's a copy of that in your packet that was sent out. Whenever y'all feel comfortable, I'll take a motion on that.
Motion to approve.
Motion, second. In a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That being said, next thing on business. That might have been Amy Lee. So the next item up on the agenda is election of officers. So at this time, any nominees for chairman?
Nominate you.
Yeah.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so vice chair,
I nominate. Alan Collins. I can't either.
I don't miss too many meetings, so whoever is vice chair, it's a rare occasion. I think Molly's had to sub.
I second it.
Are you okay with that, Alan?
I can try. It'll be fun. I have all faith in the Lord plus on it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, and now secretary.
I nominate Rosalie Lyon.
Any other nominations? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Well, officers are selected then. All right, so just an overview, just to kind of bring you up on what we're doing here. The majority of our meetings have been consisting of kind of getting, like I was talking to you before, about combining the Trousdale and the Hartsville zoning into one cohesive document instead of the two muddled and disheveled documents that currently exist. But beyond that, our job is overview of codes and zonings department, making sure Rosalie has everything that she needs, any issues that are coming up with codes and zoning to try to stay ahead of those and present those to either the planning or to the full commission. That's, as chairman, that's what I see is our responsibility in this.
Is everything that goes to the planning commission come through here first?
Most of it. Now, I never bring in rezonings or site plans. There's no reason for that to come here, but any ordinances or those discussions of ordinances, I try to bring those through here, so we kind of have a hand in it also. David and I both serve on that. So that there's just congruency of what's going on through planning. Any of the ordinances and whatnot that we do here, I kind of run them through planning, just in general discussion, so that they know what's going on. A lot of times they've got some good input. It's another set of, of minds to help us with what we're trying to do. And then, of course, everything we do, I take through Brandon Beller first before it goes to the full commission or onto another subcommittee, which is why we have one of our things back before us tonight. That's kind of old business, so I'm gonna kind of get to that, the impact fee. Back in the August meeting, we decided on an impact fee of $10,000, and so talking with Brandon Beller, that was exorbitant, and he did not believe it to be legal based on the information that he had on that. I then reached out to the comptroller's office to talk with them because the new law that they had passed groups the impact fee as a privilege tax. And so there's a whole formula for what you can do and can't do with privilege taxes. Talking with them, they looked at the private act that put our impact fee in place. And since our impact fee has no wording on how to or limits of an impact fee, we can do it if we saw fit. I don't think a 10,000 will pass through. Based on the conversation
I
that
was
came
gonna
after that.
suggest we at least matchmaking.
Yeah, Megan and Robertson here, I agree.
So we'll get down to what we need to change. I just wanted to explain why I was bringing it back before this committee.
Well, I do
for
have a
discussion.
question. Who gets that money?
Right now, it sends, and there's a copy of the ordinance that in your packet. The current, impact fee language. And right now it just goes in the general fund. It's not allocated out. Yeah, I believe it is just 101. It does, it's not allocated out to any specific funds. We can change that as we go along.
I would probably lean more towards either education or splitting from education. Probably, I don't know. Public works.
Well, At the
Because it's
same
solid
time-
waste,
at the same time, we can't give anything to the water department, which honestly, that's where I'd like to see it go, so we get these 6-inch water lines upgraded. But we can't do that.
no,
We can give the water department a 1-year, one-time grant. But we can't divert tax dollars to them.
no, I
Or
mean,
standalone, but-
education would be my first choice. In
Yeah.
all honesty, because they're feeling the impact hard. As we grow.
Well, right now, talking with Mr. Kerr,
Yeah.
the growth that they're having, they're not having near the growth that everyone expected them to have.
Right, they're steady.
But
They
what
don't,
with education?
With
Yeah, but the
education,
thing is that what we do now is gonna impact 5 years, 7 years from now, which will be different. We can't just react
so
today.
the forecast that he was talking to
We're
me
looking at
from the
tomorrow.
state was 10 years out. But they don't see a gross increase in the next 10 years. But the majority of people moving to Trousdale County, according to the state, is showing retirement age or age of, not having kids.
That's interesting.
That we're not
Talk to
having
the school
the,
board.
Well, you got some.
well, and like I said, I'm,
Also taking that route now.
and I'm, like I said, I'm getting my information straight from the chairman of the school board. So if that's not the case, that's the only way I know to get the information.
and he has discussed that with me also and said that, and also. Someone on our commission, his mother works at the school board. And she pretty much told him.
Actually, the amount of people that are coming and getting building permits. Are younger families that do have children, yes,
So that
so
is starting to tick the other way.
absolutely,
Okay.
yes, it is. And you're seeing, again, all the different subdivisions that have been approved and now the contractors are pulling the permits. They're geared towards families. Families.
That's why I say, the next 3 to 5 years, that entirely is gonna shift.
There also is going to be a need to help with planning and zoning and codes office, because
Yep.
there is more work
Mhm.
than even 2 people can do in that office at this time. Because you're dealing with floodplain management, you're also dealing with codes enforcement with the number of people coming into the county. They're coming and they're not used to what is accepted in our ordinances, and I'm getting a lot more property maintenance complaints that have to be addressed. It's imperative, we have a makeshift RV park going on various roads. Where they're pulling electricity from somewhere. And then Tri-County doesn't know about it, so these things have to be addressed.
And I would like to follow up on what you said. It seems to me to be very important that it could go to the water department to upgrade those.
It's an
Water.
entirely different entity. We can't channel tax dollars to them.
But we need more better fire protection.
We know this, yeah. We just can't channel money that way.
Yeah,
Why can't we?
that's a lot.
It's, I don't know if that's
They're-
just
they
state or
are-
state and federal.
They
but-
are not funded
Because
through
they're-
tax dollars.
because
They're
they're
entirely
utility.
standalone entity.
You know,
Yeah.
separate-
And that's.
I'm on the water board.
Yeah, that goes
Well, happy to-
supersedes anything we can do as a county. Like I said, I know it's state law. I don't know if it's federal, but I know it's state law that we cannot divert tax dollars to the water department.
Yeah, they accept nothing from us in tax,
Is-
from tax revenue.
Is there any way we could divert some of this to our new justice center?
There is.
Good.
And that'll, when we get down to that part, we'll take that conversation up a little more. Let's go ahead and get an update from Rick on kind of where we stand with our project. And I think the last time we spoke, you said you had kind of everything done. You're just waiting on getting the formatting done.
Yeah, I'm
still going through finding things that jump out at you. I put the thing together today. The one on the right is bulk standards for setbacks and lot sizes. All the things that go into making a piece of property buildable. And if you look at the number of footnotes, it kind of tells you how much of a challenge it is.
It's like a code book.
It is. And I didn't have a way to do it any differently that I could come up with. That next. But the parking thing, as I'm going through populating the matrix for the bulk standards, setbacks and what have you, I run across this gadget in C1 in the commercial zone. And it has a separate set of parking standards or an additional set of parking standards, and compare this language that's in the handout to what you see on the left on the screen up there, that is our general parking requirements that are also in the zoning ordinance. Why do you need this separate in C1 when you have standards for design of parking lots, for instance? Off-street parking was 5.5 spaces per 1,000. It's already there, that kind of thing. So what I propose to do is to not leave this in the C1 and to pull those things out that have a place in commercial parking lots, put them in the standards and do away with that.
Correct.
So it's just a redundant, I mean, looking at this, it's still 9 by 18, it's the same size.
It doesn't belong. I mean, it's something that's sitting there that you can easily miss when you're trying to go through and see if somebody's building their parking lot the way it's supposed to be. And you won't have that in residential. You can have it in industrial, but not so much. It's mostly in commercial. But I found that today and pulled it out to show you some of what's involved in trying to put this thing together. It goes sideways sometimes. And the number of footnotes on the matrix on the right is another example. It's hard to put it all in one place, one easy to read, easy to understand document. And what I'm hoping to do is the lady that's going to do our formatting for us, it's going to do the typing of it, can make better sense of it. And I may have to break out the footnotes into a separate standalone page that's a part of the appendix. It just says refer to appendix A, refer to appendix B.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still wrestling with that. But anyway. And those are all exceptions to what should be
It's interesting,
a standard.
on that last one, if you go back down, the last footnote you have there,
Mhm.
no yard shall be required for that portion of which a lot fronts on a railroad or rail spur line. I mean, how old is that? We don't have railroads in Charleston County anymore.
You still have property.
You do,
Yeah, it's still there. It's still on.
Yes, it's nothing in the TN property deal, you can tell,
yeah, where it used to be.
it's still marked on.
Oh. So does the railroad company still have the right of way of those properties then?
They don't give it up easily. My guess is yes.
Okay.
CSX or somebody still owns it. It's under charter ownership somewhere is my guess. If you look on the state property map, and I can do that in a minute. If you look on the state property map, it may show us who owns the property, but I've got a tab, I'll pull that up in a minute. That might help answer that question. But when I'm going through the matrix on the right, trying to put it together and coming up with M1, you see on the top there, the TM1, and where it says side yard. Side yard, see all the little amendments I've got there? One of those is because no yard should be required against a railroad or rail spur line.
Yeah,
The other is no side yard for industrial lots adjacent to suburban residential, or rural center districts. We don't have those.
Yeah.
So.
yeah, that's,
A lot of cut and paste went into this and they just dropped it in there and didn't catch it. So
Yeah.
I've gotta clean that out.
which is why we're doing all this.
The idea, Judy, is to end up with a cohesive code that has been cleaned up. As
Sounds
we've
good.
been layered, from, having, when we came from municipal government, it's a mess.
It'll be the same city
Yes.
or old city.
Yes,
You'll have an urban and a rural.
but it's gonna be cohesive, where right now it's as clear as mud.
And there's a maximum height in all the districts except manufacturing M1, M2, TM1 and TM2. And when I look in the printed copy, it says no height limitation shall be imposed in the M1 General Industrial District except as provided in Article 6.030. Well, that's the flood ordinance. I couldn't figure out what was in there.
That would require a height expiration.
0306030 is the general provisions in the flood ordinance, and I've read through that. And there's nothing in there that reflects on height other than you gotta abide by all of the requirements. I couldn't figure out what it was trying to get to. I'll try to figure out what that's referring to, and if it belongs, we'll leave it, but there's an exception in height requirements in other districts that talks about church spires and antennas and things like that that are not included in the max height restriction. So I'll try to figure that out, but answer your question or to follow up on what you said earlier, David. Yes, what I'm down to now is trying to weed out things like that and drop in the things from the urban portion of the ordinance, the old city ordinance, and make that into one document. So that's where the language on the left there, it's highlighted in green. That comes from the old Hartsville zoning ordinance directly. So I dropped that in to have it there to go along with what we're doing, to combine it and not lose language along the way.
So to this point now, are you up to date on all the ordinances that we passed last year?
No.
Okay,
No, I'll need to get my hands on those.
okay.
But all through, and this is what you'll see when you go to the commission with it.
Mhm.
The final product that the lady I talked to that's going to do it for us will look like this. It'll be a clean document that's published on your website,
Yeah.
available for handout, printed copies and all that. But to be able to understand what's going on, the red line copy is what the commission sees. They can have a copy of the finished product, that obviously, but
Just to see the changes and what was done, and
where it came from, yeah.
the main thing that we've stressed in this whole process is we're not trying to change zoning. We're just trying to clean it up. Any changes that we have made, in the charter, it says when they were adopted the two documents, the more restrictive of the two, if there's a conflict, the more restrictive is the one you'll go by. So that's what we're doing with our, with the cleanup. So there have been changes in some of the county versus, city. But based on that language, that's how we've made those decisions. So, that's one thing we've really been stressing here, is not to try to rewrite anything, not try to slide anything in. So that when it's presented, hopefully with the red line and being able to show everything we've done. Rick, I still think the idea of being able to give all the commissioners a copy and let them kind of go through and see it before you give it a work session, and then wait 2 months before we bring it up so that everyone has time to kind of go through it, to digest it, see what we've done. That way it doesn't look like we're trying to rush anything through. or do anything nefarious of that nature.
Right, right. My original hope was to be able to do that by the end of the year. I'm still hopeful, but.
Well, we're not gonna meet in December, so it might be something that maybe we can,
Oh, my target was for the end of the year,
yeah,
to have you, this product
okay,
in a presentable form when we meet to go through it and all.
yeah,
That's
so we can, yeah,
flexible.
well, if we do that in January. And then possibly get it out the January work session. And then, you know,
Forward in March.
then in February during work session, any questions that they have, Rick can come and talk with them then and then vote on it in March.
Yeah, bring it up.
That way everyone's got plenty of time to have gone through it, and if they don't go through it, then that's on them. I mean, that's,
There's only 10.
yeah. So. All right, we still have quite a bit, enough, I believe, to cover the formatting cost. And what was already allocated for this project, so there shouldn't be any budget amendments that are needed to get the further work done. So that's all being taken care of. So is there anything else that you wanted to bring before us?
I'm in pretty good shape. It's just a matter of putting it all together and making it a presentable product.
I appreciate all your hard work.
You're very welcome.
All right, so the next thing on is the blasting permit. So the last time we brought this up, this was the adding a fee. We were sitting at $100 fee was the conversation that we had had for this. When we took it before the commission, there were some questions about signage. And who was going to enforce it. Wanted to bring it back to just kind of discuss with you guys, before we add that language into the ordinance. The signs is pretty easy. The state already requires that, is we can already see in the areas where they've been blasting, there's big orange and black signs everywhere.
Yeah.
Citing blasting zone. So there's your sign,
They'll put them up.
and that didn't cost Charlesdale County a dime, so that takes care of that. As far as enforcement goes, the sheriff would be the one enforcing it, because I believe that's the way we discussed it, that if they're in violation, it's an ordinance. So it'd go before the sheriff, they would cite or write a ticket or wherever, and then go before the judge, and he would determine any fines, fees based on any damage that was done or property, you know, that was messed up. So it's a pretty straightforward thing.
Is that a civil or,
Well, that's a county ordinance, so I mean, it would be, yeah, it wouldn't
so
be.
it is a law?
It would be a law, yeah. So that would take care of that. As far as doing the blasting permit, Rosalie's office is already set up. The $100 charge is really just to compensate, you know, the expenses for the permit software that we have. Every time we add a permit to it, they add another charge for processing those permits. It also helps with her bottom line budget, as we just already discussed, possibly needing a third person in there, more or less second person.
Will it help or will it actually pay for it? I mean, if we're not putting it in place, it needs to be enough.
Depends on how much blasting. you do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to contribute, but I mean,
What do we blast for?
you be on the bill.
So Enbridge putting the pipeline
Swimming pool,
down.
you have a swimming pool, they get rocked.
At
They'll
your
blast,
house,
they'll
at your
blast.
house.
Or if there's, if they need to put a water main in, or they need to put a sewer line in, sewer line in.
So
Or a
if,
basement.
so if the, rock hit thing, quarry
Yep.
passes, we could get a lot of money off them, that blast a lot.
Well, there'd be one permit, but yeah.
But the permit is good for 1 year, and then they would have to reapply. And in speaking with, Enbridge, they have been following this very closely as well, and they said that they're most in favor of this, that other municipalities that they work in, they have blasting permits, and they see the need for that as well. And not only does this give us information, all that information goes, and you can see down here for the office use only. It connects with all these other departments to let them know, okay, who are the blasters? what type of material they're gonna be having. All of this type of information, because in case there is ever a need that emergency services have to go out
They know what
there.
they're dealing with when they get out there.
Exactly, and how many people might be impacted.
And based on that statement there, Rosalie, it just brought to mind. Enbridge might want to be able to have some of that information too, if someone's blasting for a basement near their new pipeline,
Absolutely.
because of the size of that pipeline, if it were to cause a crack from that blasting. They might want to be able to get a hold of whoever was doing that. So the permit really isn't meant to generate money for the department. It really is for collecting information because we had no way of doing it. The state doesn't. And doesn't try to give the county the information.
And
that they
Band-Aid
do.
safety.
So this allows us to have, as a county, have that information. So if you're blasting, we know who you are, that you're licensed, that you meet all the state requirements. And all the agencies can be, can contact you as needed.
And all the baseline safety requirements are met.
So I didn't know there was polyethylene natural gas.
There is.
Still, there's one right behind my house, and I have no idea what kind it is.
Most of Trousdale County, you have one right behind your house.
Yeah,
They crisscross.
Might as
all
well
over.
hold it back and find out.
Yeah.
And it's not just Enbridge that has a pipeline in our county, it's also Columbia Gulf, there's multiple different entities that have pipelines here.
So I wanted to bring that back up during this meeting because I'm gonna be taking it back before the full commission this month. And give our explanations, add the verbiage into it as we discussed. And move on with that.
I have a question. You
Yes.
think on the 100 or go?
I mean, if they wanna drop it to 60, I mean, that's fine. If they wanna change that, any amendment can be made to the.
I don't see a problem with
But
I just know there'll be a lot of people they'll do it, and won't never come get a permit.
That's not gonna know what's gonna be. Just don't let them
the
be
penalty
caught.
was another thing we were supposed to discuss on this. Right now, all the penalty is, it's twice whatever the fee was if you don't get it. Now, if you don't get it and you cause damage, well, once it's a law, then that goes to the sheriff's department. And they come out and you can be arrested for not having your permit. I mean, however the sheriff wants to
Somebody gets
handle
injured
it.
now, it's
Whether he wants to arrest you for it or he wants to just
Liability.
write you a ticket.
Restitution.
Yeah.
For that.
Well, if we have this in here, then somebody will sue somebody, so we'd be covered.
Yeah.
We have it. And if they don't have it, then we're still covered because we have it all.
All right, so we've covered a penalty for it, we've covered the signage question that came up, and we've covered who's gonna be enforcing it. Any other discussion?
Let me ask a question.
Okay.
Do we need to put up a sign if they've already put signs up, like Cambridge or something, they'll blow up?
We have to.
Jones Brothers has put theirs up,
Mhm.
but do we still have to put ours up? I mean,
I can't,
We don't have no sign to put it.
well,
No, it's there, it's on
we,
them.
we could, I mean, honestly, we've got the generic signs and we could put a header on it, blasting. But
I've
there's,
seen him need to-
that's
Oh,
no different, that's no different than, not for a year. But that's no different than the sign that they're already required to put up for the state, so it's just a redundant at that point.
But did I understand you to say if you were building a swimming pool in your backyard, you might blast? So we would need some sign. Who would put that
Well,
sign?
whomever is contracted to do the blasting, this isn't gonna be done by a hobbyist.
Yeah.
This is gonna be done by a licensed professional that will have everything they need, including signage.
Okay.
that's good for you.
Yeah, you're not gonna be cooking something in the microwave and bringing it out there, put it in your blow up rock.
And there
I would
could,
hope not.
there could be hobbyists that
Some
decide,
people
well,
like to cook
Oh, yeah,
things
there's a
in
bunch
their
of out there.
but that being said,
Yeah.
that falls back to the sheriff and nuisance issues and that sort of thing, so.
Yeah.
So just point of clarification for penalty, what did you say?
Well, right now, the standard is the penalty would be, as far as your office is concerned, is the policy you already have in place is twice the fine.
The permitting,
Yeah,
when they have to come in, if they get caught,
If
if
they
they
get
don't get it, and they have to come and get it, then it's double, it's $200.
Well, would the fine be 200 and then you had to pay the 100 to get it?
what's the policy now? If you don't get a building permit, what's your policy for,
You just double the permit thing.
so it would just be $200. But at the same time, if you got caught, and you didn't have your permit, you know, you got cited for it, and you go to court, and the judge says, well, you did X amount of damage. So you pay your $200 to the county for the permit violation, and then you pay whatever the judge tells you for restitution or damage.
Here's your fine.
Yeah,
And that wouldn't be a civil court. Restitution.
At that point, it'd be criminal.
I would think it'd be criminal because you're breaking county law.
You broke the law. Doing it without permission.
If you break a
So
law
all
and hurt
laws are
somebody,
criminal.
and now it's. You break a law, hurt somebody, once the criminal case is over, then they have the ability to turn around and take you civilly.
So is it, are we in agreements on the answers to the questions that were asked of us? If we are, I'll entertain a motion, or we can continue to discuss and,
How about I make a motion?
okay,
I second.
and a second.
I would like to hope that everyone in this committee's for the $100.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So everyone's fine with that? I like it.
Yeah.
Not that. I'm just saying.
all right, so, all in favor?
Uh,
All right, it passes. I will have, Ms. Thomas add that language to the ordinance, and I will get that. Hopefully get that in time for, the executive meeting this month. All right, so back to impact fee. So Rosalie was nice enough for the conversation to go ahead and give us the list back of our surrounding counties. Of what their impact fees are. And just a minimum comparison. And then you've got in your packet what our current impact fee is. Now, in the discussion that we had when the last motion was passed, we had looked at all the different ones and saw that some of them, what they were doing was just doing a flat out square footage fee, no matter how big it was just a flat fee. That seemed to be prevailing in murmurings that followed after that meeting. I talked to a couple of citizens, talked to a couple of builders. If you did a $2.50 per square foot, and it kind of puts you right in line with, I mean, Wilson County's is 5,000. Macon is 2250, but they do a square footage on theirs,
They do 250.
on theirs. You can see Trousdale County being almost the least amount. Cannon County is kind of further out, from Nashville with not as much building as say Rutherford County would have. But you can see Macon, Wilson, I mean, even Robertson. They're all quite a bit more than us, but I was just playing around with the numbers. So a 2,200 square foot house, kind of the houses that are built out on Bass Road, that would have been $5,500. But then if you did the 1,500 that's in your example here, that'll give you $3,750. So that would put you above Macon, above Robertson, above Cannon, but you're still less than Wilson. But now Wilson's is a flat 5,000. No matter what size building you build,
Right.
it's $5,000 just for building in their county. So I think the 250 that Macon has would be, you can justify it by the new law of with our growth. You can easily do it based on what comptroller's office told me, because of our private act has no limits on or requirements of how we raise that impact fee. It was kind of written with an open ended there. So I think that could be easily argued and held up if anyone tried to complain about it too much.
Is this on commercial property?
Yes, it's on everything. Now, as you see in the existing one here, commercial does get a break. So you'll see it was a minimum of 1,500. And then anything over what is it, 2030? It's an odd number.
It's 2140, that's in the top of the paper here, where the impact fee,
Okay,
that's the current state.
so right now, it's $1,500, that's your minimum to build in Charlesville County. If you exceed 2140, you pay 70 cents more per square foot above that, but commercial only pays 30. Because we are trying to encourage more commercial to come in. And commercial properties don't have kids that have to be taught in school either, so it is less of an impact. And the tax revenue does help, so it kind of offsets. It makes sense to me to have that way, but if you go straight to just the flat.
Do the other surrounding counties, is their commercial less? Cause you do have, sheriff's department,
You do. There is
you
impact,
have
that's why.
road.
I don't, so this is just residential that you looked up. Did you look up any on commercial?
They
Or was it-
don't have it separated out.
They don't.
It's the same.
So it's all just the same.
It's
So
the
if they come
same
in-
whether it's commercial or it's residential.
They come in and build a factory, 20,000 square foot, or
Yeah.
50,000 square foot, that'd be $2.50 a foot would be.
Yeah.
Pretty good money.
Yeah, at a minimum, I'd like to see us at least match Macon and Roberts.
Yeah, with
For
that-
both commercial and, yes.
So instead of it being split out for commercial and industrial. Just do a flat out 250 a square foot and call it a day? Is that the consensus then?
Will that make people build smaller houses?
No, I don't think so.
They're already building smaller houses.
I'm saying, if you raise it enough, maybe that's fine.
Yeah,
I mean,
The thing you also need to consider too, for those that are moving to this county and their children are growing up, are they gonna be able to afford to build a house?
But they're moving here because it's cheap.
They are,
So it's already cheaper.
I mean,
it is, but if we're raising this up,
on the. Looking at this like, at that ratio, looking at this like. We are only going from 1,500 to 1,200 or 2,250.
Yeah.
Right, money.
And, you know, same thing on a 2145, on this one, on average 1,502 versus, with that one. That one is going up a fair amount and, but I mean, it's not huge.
The 2145.
Yeah,
How much is it going?
we can go from this to this. Which,
Oh,
yeah,
I
that
mean,
just kind of showed what the.
it's going up
disparity
$1,716. I mean, that's, but still,
now most of those, I've been in all those houses on this. They're beautiful. But they're from like 21, 22, 23. That's kind of in the middle. I mean, some of those houses will go over this 2145 and then some won't.
but it's
Those are
still,
less
it's still gonna be based off the square footage.
Right, and so
That's just a for instance.
this was an arbitrary amount. Because what we had initially, if you look back at the ordinance here, is that if you go over 2,140 square feet. That's when this kicks in, where it's 70 cents a square foot.
Oh.
And that was like, no, period,
Oh,
period,
Yeah, which is not,
which that's why we only got like $1,502. So. it
because it was
just kinda
only
showed-
the square footage that was over the 1,500 or the 21.
$1,500 gets you 1,500 square foot.
Yeah.
Anything over.
Out of curiosity, does Porches count?
They have permit fees, not impact fees. What happens with
It's livable
impact
space.
fees, it's living area, so that area
And
that is
cool.
heated and cooled.
sorry. So. Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, we were giving it away.
I agree.
I think we're still trying to give it away. A couple times, to take care of a kid rather than a little house or a big house.
I don't disagree with you at all, and just understand. I'm gonna throw it out there, I'm gonna kick the can down 5 years down the road. Go revisit your Board of Education and see how they're feeling about the amount of growth in just 5 years. We can't deal with today, we have to deal right now, what we're doing right now, we have to look at it at a bare minimum of a 5-year window.
Well, I understand that,
Yeah.
but it's not just the Board of Education.
It's everywhere. I'm just saying
It's
that
every department.
they'll. Like it or not, I'm gonna be one of those people that's always gonna stand up and I'm not gonna let them slide kids first, and then
Yes.
everything else is secondary.
When school started this year, there was no more kids there than there was last year. Now,
5 years.
at the day, but in 5 years, every. The
still
roads are
gotta
gonna
pay the
cost
bill.
more.
Yes, they are.
Sewage is gonna cost more,
And we will
we're
get
gonna have more
avenues, yes,
prisoners, we're gonna have.
we're
I
gonna
mean,
get
everything.
avenues to pay for that stuff. I just said the most important thing in my opinion, I'm not gonna, I think on these slight kids.
And
everything else.
For everything.
No, not at all, not at all. I'm just saying that's. They feel it, that comes out of the commission's budget, and then as far as highways and stuff like that, yes, I mean. If it's not a state road, then it's coming out of ours, so we have to take a look at all of that. But the biggest, what's our biggest expense as a commissioner, you should know. What's the thing we write the checks for, what is our big portion of it? Education. So that's where the ebb and flow.
But we
from
have
stuff
something
like this
new
need-
coming up that money's gonna come out for. We're just now in the process of building this new jail. We're gonna have to come up with money.
We are, and we can't tap the well dry for one fiscal expense project. Right, we'll say if that's the avenue we go down, we have to have other ways. So anything we can, I would say a larger portion goes to education, the rest of it's split. You know, even if it's a smaller, but I would say even if it's a little more to education, because that impacts the commission the greatest. And then we have the rest of this impact fee, as it comes in, we'll have to find ways to divide that up amongst the other departments that feel the impact. Whether it be law enforcement and highways and solid waste, I mean, it goes all the way down the gamut there, we feel it everywhere.
The sheriff's department right now is really spending a lot of their time with the core civic prison. Dealing with all of that.
Understood. What I'm saying, when it comes to these impact fees, allocation a little more to education and the rest of it, because we have other avenues to pay for.
I do just want to say one thing. We, the commission, has never, where are we gonna get? See, I don't think this decision can hardly be made until we know how is the county going to pay for this jail? Where's the money coming from?
Well, that's
Where do we have
that's in the
to?
commission. We're just in codes and zoning.
I realize that, but all money coming in. If we today say, well, it's gonna go to this, how do we know? We don't know. There's never been a talk with the commission about where we're gonna get the money to build this multi-million-dollar thing.
Much difference before.
Don't we have to know that? Before I buy anything, I know exactly what it's gonna cost me.
Understood.
And we're talking millions, which I don't know how to.
Well,
Okay, so
I've also-
this is
I did
just,
some rough math just to kind of add to the discussion here. So at $250 per square foot, just flat rates here. $2, I said 200, yes, $2.50. So on 1,500 square foot home, it's gonna be $3,750. So that puts you still under Wilson, but above everyone else. At 275, it takes you up to 4125. So adding that extra quarter
it's tremendous.
bumps you on the 2145. It actually will, if you go to 275, it bumps you $536. Just that one quarter
On the bigger house?
on the bigger house. That extra 25 cents is another $536.25.
Which is what added together.
So that would be your $2.70, if you went to $2.75 versus your $2.50. It's $536
more.
More added to what? What's the total?
off that, it would be a total of $5,898.75.
don't we have, what would a $3,000 or 3,200 square foot house cost? Because I think we have several
which
of those
rate?
built.
Oh, we've got.
And I
we got
mean-
Larger than that.
I know
Oh, we got
10,000
5
would
and
affect me
10,000.
from either one.
275, and you want to go to 3,000?
You just know what it would cost.
So a 3,000 square foot house at a $2.75 per square foot would cost you $8,250.
And at the lower rate.
Let's see. 7,500. Almost $1,000 difference.
What? The lower rate's higher.
No, so at $2.50 on 3,000, that's gonna give you $7,500. For the, and then at 275. Gives you 8,250.
8250.
So not quite 1,000, but. Close.
I understand that Wilson and some of these other counties are going up over there, they're going. I think Wilson.
Wilson is going up.
To 10,
I will say this though about Wilson.
and Macon is gonna go up. I know, I've heard that.
That's 250.
They just
How
increased theirs within the last year. I don't think they're gonna be going.
What do you think about it?
They went to 250.
Yeah.
They-
What was it before that?
They do provide more services.
They do.
They have
Trying to look at it
sewage,
as if it's how,
they have things we don't
if
have.
it can affect what's being built. If we go a little higher and have nicer houses,
I mean, 250
I
is
don't
the
think it
minimum.
would because, like I say, I go to all these houses being built. And they're coming here because it's cheaper. Like Bass Road, they're getting 2 acres, pretty much for the same price, they get a little yard. A decent yard, but a little. And then they're building their big barns. Would the barns be off?
It isn't.
No,
No, because it's only for living.
that's the structure.
Okay.
There's a permit fee for that, not on the impact.
I really don't think with the larger houses that contractors come here. Do you?
I don't think any of it will.
No, they won't.
I think
no, that's what I'm saying, if you have
If somebody's gonna let $1,000 or $1,500 hold up the construction of their house, they have a business building it.
what I'm saying is the larger fee. Are you gonna build a 1,200 square foot house, or are you gonna build
If $1,000 is gonna stop you, or $1,200 is gonna stop you from building the house you want, you're not doing this. You might just keep renting.
Only people that will, right now, that would build those smaller homes would be people that were gonna rent them. Not live in.
I don't know.
And there's some people building some small houses there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of spec homes being built like crazy. That are under 1,500 square feet.
The ones on Acorn, they look like they're closer to the 1,700
Yeah.
and versus
What about the couple of new ones out here?
on Jeans.
On Lonely Meadows.
Yeah,
Most of them probably are averaging around 1,500.
What about them in Green? They're weird.
They're about 1,700 average.
and that's about the kind of the median, that's the average I've seen with houses. I noticed as they went from, in my subdivision, going from Hickory Ridge over to Acorn. Acorn doesn't have garages anymore. And they're building a little smaller houses than they were building
I mean,
over on.
where I live on Circle Drive there, not even 1,500 square foot, I think 13 something. And that pretty much the whole neighborhood, they were, later on, as newer homes were built, they got bigger.
Mhm.
But all, and in the first, in the 60s, they're all about the same size. At that time. But
So-
it's later on, as the subdivision grows, the houses got bigger.
As a kid of the 60s, nobody had a really good.
Yeah.
All those ranch homes, that was like somebody just,
1,300, you still have 3 bedrooms.
That was all
Turn
over
around,
this country.
yeah, two guys.
Everybody lived in a
Or half of
rectangle,
that.
rectangle all over this country.
So at the $2.50 mark, that puts us under Wilson at a 1,500. But puts us over Wilson at a 2,100 square foot home. At the 275, it puts us $875 under Wilson on a 1,500. But then it puts us 800 over on a 21.
You're saying Wilson's is a flat, no matter what.
Theirs is a
size.
flat, but theirs is the
But you're
highest.
saying they're going up,
They are,
Yeah.
they are.
so we don't need to be all.
We don't need, we can't even take a look at what they're doing. As soon as they, having worked as an engineer for a firm, what? All I can tell you is as soon as they have something printed on paper and that's what they're running with, it's already antiquated by the time it's small over there. That the amount of growth and the amount of expansion that is happening over there. If they look at something today, they're 5 years behind. I have never seen anything quite like that over there. And it's, I just think we're here and they're over there. We don't have their headaches because their headaches is.
We have different headaches.
We have different-
And this is the thing that we all need to be looking at, especially the codes and zoning subcommittee. We only have X amount of acres in Trousdale County. So we are the smallest land mass county in Tennessee. Everyone wants to talk about how, well, we need industry, well, we need our agricultural part. The only thing we've got growing right now at a constant rate is residential houses. I mean, you've got your farming, I mean, Alan, you can speak to this, I mean.
No, I get it financially.
Farming's going down and bedrooms are going up. I mean,
As
The reason people live here is not for house,
yeah, as the big,
but I mean, I understand it financially.
yeah,
as the parents die, kill
275.
children, set of the farm.
275. Sounding more.
I don't think I don't think anything could be built less than 5 times off there. That's my opinion.
We're talking about going up a little bit more than.
Well, only.
I'm saying minimum, you
Oh,
don't build
it could
any,
be.
you don't build anything, you don't get a, impact fee for less than 5 times.
These are
so you're
that are
talking
being
about
built, Are
taking,
we actually getting less than 5,000? Is what he's saying.
oh, we
that's-
are,
And the lumber,
we are
we're getting
currently.
more.
Yeah, we are, yeah.
Yeah, currently,
We're
currently,
I'm talking current.
Okay.
I'm talking with the new.
That's what we're discussing.
No, well, you would get,
Figure it out.
at 250, you would get $3,750 on a 1,500 square foot home. Because it's a flat rate of $2.50 per square
Well,
foot.
that's not enough.
That's my opinion.
So what you're thinking is doing kind of what we've already got, do a 5,000 base, and then anything above that is your change.
That's what
Per square foot.
That's what I think.
And with everyone building more smaller homes than larger homes. we'll
Spread it out.
Like I said, the impact is the same when you live in a big house or small. Should they, should.
They're driving on the roads or sending kids to the schools.
Would that be if we 250 or 275? No matter what size home. You know, it'd still be spread out right.
Now, just as a reminder, whatever you decide here still has to go through the finance committee. And
They
We got
can-
voted on by the county commission as well, so
Absolutely.
it could be changed.
And it's what they vote over. Come back to us, or
No.
that's it.
It goes from our committee to their committee to the full commission for discussion, amending, and
We may
Hearing
say
that.
250, they may say 2.25.
Yeah.
Or $2,
Well, let's go up as high as.
or they may
everyone's
say $5.
I kind of like your 5,000 thoughts, since we've got so many small houses being built. It'd make up for the fewer larger houses.
I mean, the argument, and I go back to this, I don't care what we're talking about, it's all in the presentation.
Mhm.
You could just go out there and say, well, this is what it is. And you're gonna get your naysayers and detractors in each one of these subcommittees and with the full commission. And they're gonna shoot it down. It's in the presentation. If it is explained to them in the manner in which Mr. Carmen just brought forward, then people have the ability to process that in a different manner. And I'm saying it's everything that you bring forward in the commission. It's all in the presentation.
So you're gonna present.
Well, as the chairman, that is your
I'm going-
responsibility to
I'm-
present each ordinance.
I bring it, let you guys, the subcommittees bring up,
Whoever can
Talk to
present the best.
but yeah, I mean, that's the
It's been
thing,
shot down once before.
but it's in the presentation.
I
Yeah.
hear you.
But but just so you know, in the past, we've had problems with this. I'm not saying with Mayor Carmen, but I'm saying in the past, there's been issues where my chair, I cannot interject my thoughts or
No.
opinions and that and all. I have to bring forward the agenda
Mhm.
in a very neutral, unbiased manner and let the commission at large do all the deliberating.
You can get-
I get to vote, but I can't sit up there and voice my opinion as a voice of God type of thing, which that is not allowed, and that has happened before,
Yeah.
and that's not why I'm there.
Thinking of a person who's done that a lot.
Yeah, well, there's been a few, but I'm just saying that you can't do that, and so
Can you not, step down and.
I can if deemed necessary.
Or somebody ask you your opinion, Ken?
Yes, I can step down and let the pro tem or the next in line step up there and chair while I go step down and step off to the side or go to the podium and speak my mind and come back. But that's why I can't chair any of these subcommittees. Because in the past, there have been chairmen that have chaired subcommittees. And you can't be bringing a point of view. So the thing is, it's in the presentation. So when you bundle this up to take it forward. When something's important, when it does go to budget and finance. The representative needs to be there to explain it. Don't just let those people read it for the first time
Oh, no.
and how it lands on their eyes on a piece of paper, let them pass judgment. If it's important, you need to walk the, same thing in DC, you have to hand walk every bill that goes through. Each step, so that you were there to answer any questions that moves
And
much
if
smoother.
you, Mr. Kerr got it. Walk with you.
So,
But
just, we have to handball it through everybody, we should go, and this goes for all committees, anything that's brought forward.
They should know for everything.
It does. You handball it through, you walk, if it's important to know. To put this together, to send it to budget and finance to move it forward, you gotta walk it through.
That's a good idea, and it should be done. You should have
In
no
the
problem saying,
presentation, you
you
have
should
to
have
be
no
able,
problem telling people why.
that's right, and. That needs to happen, so.
Take a picture.
Well, and that's why
100%.
I'm trying to encourage as much conversation on each item that we do. So that when it does get pushed forward, I can actually convey that conversation.
And you've
So
got
that they
people
can
here to
do
back you up.
Yeah.
That are part of this decision-making process. And there's people that were put on this committee for that reason, because they like to have an opposing opinion, but at least if they have the opportunity to get the education. That as to why it came forward this way, then there's less opposition, at least there should be, as long as I can.
And something else is raising this, you're not costing anybody that lives there money.
No,
No, this isn't
And you're not stopping the
property
sale of
tax
homes.
increase. This is only on new homes
You're
that are
not-
built in Douglas County.
when we first come out with the one we got now,
Mhm.
the builders raised hell. It did slow nobody down. They
Oh, it is.
right on building.
and it's not.
But they raised all
The
kind of
whole
hell.
subdivision, they're going to pass it on to the consumer, it's not gonna,
But
it
you know,
doesn't tighten their
but
belt,
in that situation, nobody's making them buy it.
and they're buying it.
And Eastman's wanting to buy some more land there, I know that,
Well, good.
There ain't
and
no-
he does the big houses.
Yes, that was my point. We don't have any.
Hey, what is it?
I think Fleming built.
Blind
that
lane?
house
Yeah.
Because he was up there with Eastman. Fleming actually told me he planned to do brick on the front and aluminum or whatever, the siding on the sides, but he did. Because Eastman's is all brick, and Fleming did.
Everything I've heard about those Clemens houses is pretty good.
Mhm.
All right, so what do we want to do on this?
I actually, again, it's in the presentation.
Yeah.
The way that he explained that makes more sense than any of the psychobabble that's come out of my mouth all week. So I like the verbiage and the way he, I mean, unless you guys wanna
Now,
put
what,
in a different plan.
I'll hear it again.
So correct me if I'm wrong, the discussion we just had You're wanting just to take the base $1,500 dollars for minimum impact fee and just move that to 5,000 and just leave everything the way it is.
So I guess 10% too, that might help.
But the way you stated it was very simple. What was that sent to you? You could,
It's the same
I know
thing
exactly what he
regardless
said.
of the size of the house.
That's right, because it doesn't matter if you live in 1,000 square foot house or a 5,000 square foot house, the impact is the same. You're driving on our roads, you're sending kids to our schools, yep, there's trash pickup. The impact is there. Yep.
and then add your sentence, if you can't, spend that little
If
bit
five
amount.
thousand dollars is not, even at $5,000,
If a 1% bump is going to cause you not to be able to buy your house.
you're not in a position to
that.
buy the house. If that $5,000 impact fee is going to stop you from buying that house, you probably are in a situation, if your car had a transmission go out, you'd go into receivership. You probably shouldn't be entering into a 30-year mortgage.
All
I'm
right,
just saying.
now,
We are going from 1,500 to 5,000. No, I'm all for it, I'm just saying.
That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the impact though. I mean,
Right.
so Rick. You've heard the discussion.
he's heard it all.
You've been
I
doing this
guarantee
for
you.
a long time. I really would love to hear your thoughts.
I don't, I don't think as long as it's a reasonable increase, it will have an effect on how many houses are built. If it's too far.
Yeah.
Too far out, it will. Cheatham County, 25 years ago, went from, I think it was about $1,000 to 7,500 to try to pay for their schools. And it had a chilling effect.
Yeah.
And that effect is still there. They're still feeling that today because of how far they went with their increase.
Mhm.
But as long as it's, within reason, I don't think it has an effect.
Well, the latest thing we've said is from 1,500 to 5,000. I
Right.
think that's,
Right. Oh, I
Not
don't,
reasonable.
yeah. I
And
don't-
what would $1,500 buy you? And
As far
25
as
years
the
ago.
Department of Education goes, or in highways, they don't,
nothing. I'm just asking in your opinion. since we're
They get you
asking
a dozen
reasonable.
you can buy
Yeah,
a lot
I
more
think it
house
is.
in
I
18
do.
than you can now.
And the impact is more now than it was in 18.
sure was.
So I think I think we've at 5,000 doing what you're proposing, I think that still meets the within reason.
I think it's still low, but I think it's within reason for.
With
For
the
this
surrounding
year.
counties and.
Well, at this
At
juncture,
the same time, like I said, I have checked with the comptroller's office. They looked over our private act and said there is no language in here that limits how much or how you can raise your impact fee. So, because I asked, is the 10,000 legal? And he said, yes. Wesley Roberts, I believe is his name.
Yes.
He's who we use for all of our budgeting conversations, so, I think between those two criteria, if this is what the body wants to do, then I think we're legal now. I think the 10,000 was, really couldn't be considered as realistic or reasonable, I guess is the correct word to use.
Now that would go. Where does my zeros go? Would we get 87,000 or would we get,
8,750.
that's not that much.
For what?
That was off for all 175 houses.
No.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're looking at.
It's a lot.
My-
more than that.
It would be 875,000 we'd get from impact fees.
See, I think we also need. to
Oh, I
think
see what
about
you're asking me now. Okay, I didn't, I misunderstood you.
If you're doing 5,000 just the straight.
Mhm.
Then those commercial and industrial buildings that are like 10,000.
Oh, yeah, we
Or
ought to do them
200,000.
separate.
No, I'm talking.
That's what that is, though, see,
It
we
does
have,
do both.
Well, we can separate it out, can't we?
We can.
So,
let's-
yeah,
that's why
that's,
if you do a.
that does make a difference.
Price
No,
per
no, I'm
square
saying
footage.
5,000 is minimum. That's what gets you to 1,500 square feet. And then
Alright.
they'll resort back to the 7 cents. Oh,
That's, well, see,
I like
that's just
that.
making it,
All right, so let's take a warehouse, 20,000 square foot. That, I mean, that's,
that's small.
so you would take, I mean, that's a small warehouse.
We don't have one.
So you take that,
Yeah, we do.
you minus the minimum, that's what you get for your 5,000. So that would be minus 21, All right, that's gonna take you down to 17,000 square foot, 17,860 square foot. So that times the current square foot rate. 0.30 cents. That would be five, so you're, for a 20,000 square foot under what Mr. Carmen is talking about, you would be looking at a $10,358 impact fee on a 20,000 square foot warehouse.
What would it be to $2.50? Probably $3.70.
How many square feet is the dollars?
10,000. Just a little under 10,000.
See, and none of those codes were changed where they would have to.
Yeah, it'd be $50,000.
Their property taxes would have been higher. We're losing so much
Right,
money.
yeah.
on wholesale this place.
All right, so
No, I'm talking about the codes that were turned out.
So just to give a comparison here. So the same $20,000, or excuse me, the same 20,000 square foot home. Or,
Oh.
let me get it straight.
Hey, man,
Warehouse.
here.
Warehouse. The same 20,000 square foot warehouse. At the proposed would just be changing the 1,500 minimum to 5,000. Anything over the 2140 goes to 30 cents a square foot. That's the current. If we do that, you end up with 10,358. If you did just a flat $2.50, the same warehouse, that would be $50,000 impact fee. So you're charging more of an impact on your commercial buildings than you are on your residential.
And we're talking multi-million-dollar
Well,
corporation.
that's what I was going, I
Yep.
see what you're saying.
But your commercial is bringing in tax revenue.
Yeah.
And the thing is we
In
don't
the
want to
future.
deter that much of
Right.
commercial development.
Yeah,
Because commercial development, they're not sending kids to school.
exactly.
So we are more in line with the 10,000.
I think doing the 5,000 with, now, if you wanna bump the 70 and the 30, like the proposed that we had passed, that Mr. Nolan had done in the last meeting we had. We took the 70 up to $1 and we took the 30 up to 50 cents.
Run your numbers.
So,
What about keeping the commercial like it is now, and to keep in the residential to do the $2.50? Can you do both? that
Well,
way?
250, we're gonna lose money.
Well,
And
For a
commercial, definitely.
Where we gonna lose money, 250.
on commercial, it wouldn't be no $50-something thousand, or it would stop them. from
That's too
coming.
much.
so under that one, if
But
you,
if you done the 30 cent, go ahead.
if you bump the 30 cents to 50 cents. Now you're at 13,930. Instead of the 10.
Okay.
So you bumped it $3,000. By doing that 50 cents,
Yeah, and that's not out of the realm of reason, anything reasonable.
not on a 20,000 square foot.
No,
I mean,
but-
and most of those are gonna be 30 and 40.
So back down, now that we're back to debating this again,
Yeah,
$2.50 flat versus 5,000 and then,
and
I
then,
don't think there's no way we can do 250 on one.
yeah,
no.
No.
$50,000 charge on
Residential,
commercial, you're not gonna have
No,
commercial.
But are we gonna, so going back to 250 a square foot on residential, we're gonna lose money over the 5,000 flat? Versus, 5,000 flat plus,
Well, I mean, at the 250 mark,
you're at 1,000 square feet.
you're losing $300.
Well, what?
So the difference between 250 a square foot on a 2145 and a,
But see, people, 2145 is gonna be it's gonna be a rare house, there's gonna be 1 in 3 built that size. The rest are gonna be 11, 12, 1,500 square feet.
Yeah.
And so,
2,000 square foot.
so you're increasing the money coming in because you're doing a 5,000 flat versus the $2.50. If you gotta get to get up to 53.62, that was the 2145 at $2.50. That got you to 5,300.
as he brought forward earlier, people in small houses, the impact is the same.
It is.
So,
So if you did the 5,000 and then above that arbitrary 2140, you're $1 a square foot above that. You're still getting your increase, but everyone up to that 2140 is all paying the same.
That's right.
Which is 90% of what we're building. Am I correct on that? I just kind of threw that.
2145 is smaller, it's 90% of what we're doing. 2145 square feet is smaller. It's
80 to
90%.
90% of what we're building.
Mostly what is being pulled for like these spec houses and everything is only 1,700 square feet.
So yeah, the answer is yes.
I'm doing my math completely wrong. I'm thinking 1,500 off and 1,500 square foot.
No,
Anything over that, you said.
yeah. So what it is,
I'm off.
yeah, it's that flat rate gets you all the way up
To
to
2145.
2140.
Let's see,
And at 2140, once you go 2441, well, that costs you another 50 cents. And then every square foot above that is another 50 cents.
50 cents, is that where you're at? Okay.
That's the discussion of what we're raising. Currently, it's 30
That's on
on commercial. On residential, it's 70 cents. Is the above.
So 70 cents now we're talking about residential.
Yep.
So yeah, so you go 2141
And
and
that's not
it's an
70
extra,
cents.
an extra 70 cents for that square foot
so
and beyond.
here's my question, why are we even setting a limit of square footage? Why are we saying we have to keep the 2140? No one else is doing that, so why are we doing that?
To have a place where there's an increase, you gotta. Are you building a 10,000 square foot house with a $5,000 impact fee? And a $1,200 or 1,200 square foot house with a $5 impact fee?
That's why I'm gonna flat rate. Those that are building the really large houses, they
So-
get more of an impact.
Okay, so what we could do though,
On a flat, they wouldn't be.
so
That's right, they wouldn't do. That's why we, the 250.
But the small houses, the thing is, we're losing money on the small houses. The small houses are gonna generate $5,000. At 250.
But then you also, with smaller houses, you still have property taxes that are gonna be paid every year. So you still have a revenue stream.
another thought that we haven't discussed yet. So everyone agrees that doing the 250 straight, flat rate on commercial is just, it is not feasible. That gets you that
No, I know,
50,000 on the 20,000.
and we're in
You
agreement
can
on,
cap that.
we're in agreement on the commercial, looking at it the way that it was. Where we seem to have a problem is on residential.
Well,
Residential is a problem, because I'm of the opinion that 5,000 square, or $5,000 up to 2140. And then anything over that is 70 cents.
Okay, I've been on,
Versus 250 a square foot,
you $2,
80% of the houses out there we're gonna lose money.
you $2.50 on 3,000 square foot house, is gonna give you 7,000.
Say that one more time.
Your flat 250 on a 3,000 square foot house is $7,500.
Mhm.
I feel like anything over that's getting pretty steep.
Yeah.
House,
It is.
and
Because we currently don't have a cap on the impact fee. The bigger the thing, the more you pay. That's just the way it's set up. My thought is, if you did the flat 250, you would cap your commercial to a certain point. I mean,
Yeah, but commercial doesn't have to be the same as residential.
It doesn't.
And that's what we're talking about, is we're going back to, we're still on residential here.
I think you need to open the minimum. Or your,
you were to drop that minimum. We're
raise the. Your line for commercial, I mean,
yeah,
most of them not doing 15 or 2,000 square foot commercial building.
yeah. And honestly, most places aren't gonna be building, warehouses around here. You're building stores.
Yeah.
Actually,
Okay.
you've got
Right.
out there at,
Power
PowerCon.
Power.
They're coming down the line.
Okay.
Moving on. Yeah, the plastic guys think to build a big building.
See,
But I see your point, putting a cap on the
That
commercial
would,
side.
and that would actually lower that.
Yeah,
so.
I think-
We can get some.
I mean, it'll be over these. That's pretty much his name, that's what I said.
I think the 5,000. I mean, that still would raise theirs up to, At 50 cents, that was $13,000 of an impact fee. Your 5,000 with that addition of 50 cents per square acre. On a project that size, that's still a small percentage, and it is a one-time impact. But then, so we could do that commercial, because it's already, the existing ordinance is already, you already have a split there, commercial, industrial, away from residential. You could split commercial and industrial apart. So your industrial would be your warehouse. And so that rate would be, a little less, so it wasn't as much of an impact. Your commercial is gonna be your businesses that we've got, in our urban core here. We could break it out into that level if we wanted to go that far.
But
Just like anything else, you get on, way on the front square footage, it's costing you less.
But the thing that we need to be looking at is, I think that's the gist of the conversation is. Anything you want more of, you don't tax. And if you want less of it, you tax it. So what do we want more of and what do we want less of?
well, wait a minute,
That's the discussion.
these big industrial
Really?
warehouses in Wilson County,
Mhm.
they can afford that kind of money.
Yep.
We're not gonna get those, we don't have the roads to get those.
That's what they're building.
That's what they really,
That's 141.
that's what, 141 is.
Be completed in
That
2
2-lane
years.
road they're building,
And everything else that's also going out, right, power pump,
right, that 2-lane.
we may be.
It's a 2-lane road with 2 lanes
With
on, with a
wide
lane on each side shoulders, yeah. But it'll eventually go to 4 lanes. But that's,
Part of it in Lebanon is 4 lane.
Yeah.
And part of it is 2 lane. I don't know why, I have no idea.
but the point of that is to bring businesses up here off of Interstate 40. That was the whole purpose of that plan, and they're finally actually doing it.
It's a road from Macon County.
Yeah, that's what it did.
And
It's a road
Salina
from
and
Macon
Great
County.
Borland and.
Yeah,
Coming
it's-
through
it's a
here.
road-
Yeah.
road
Because
from
if they
Macon
were
County.
doing it for Tulsa, we would have had 840 come right through Sunday, they stopped that.
Yes.
But you also have industry going in over there at power pump. We keep
Power.
forgetting.
4 lakes, however you know.
That's where I
it.
want, yeah. Or I would do the mowing there.
Oh, then,
There's more.
More do you
going out
think?
there than people.
It's not just.
Also-
That are aware.
Also, McDonald's redoing the dock down there.
Yeah,
For,
I'll get green,
uh,
I'll get a margin.
for barges.
For
wait a minute,
transportation. So
Dar-
there's-
McDonald's fast food?
No.
Okay.
McDonald's, the farm,
The farm.
the big farm.
So you're gonna be having industry. Being able to do a lot of logistical transportation, it's gonna build industry.
Yeah.
There's, I get calls all the time about various industries that are wanting building out there.
They had some people come from South Korea and looked at the big spot out there. Right as you go in, right there, but that sign, little hill there, they looked at that.
So
Where are we on the residential's where it seems like there's a data collision here,
It
so
does.
we need to get
So we'll just focus on residential for this meeting, and then we come back on the next meeting and hit the commercial and industrial. Cause it looks like residential seems to be where the close to an idea here of
Are
doing
any
a
of these
flat.
big places about to buy? We might need to be industrial before.
Well, let's. So, on the residential, I mean, the way we've looked at it both ways, just doing a flat 5,000 as Wilson does. And then do your per square foot above. I don't know, I really don't know where,
1,500 is minimum or the 70 cents. If it's over that, then it's 70 cents. It's not a base of. that.
that's interesting, because when that came before planning and was brought up by Mr. Jewell. It was always discussed as an addition to cost.
Yeah, but it didn't work out that way.
That's not the constraints.
Okay, so our current, you might not pay. So if you're over the 20,
We
That's
were
fine.
completely, we were way off. Even the
Yeah.
way we've been thinking.
That's
Yeah.
why when I was
We
showing
get a whole lot less than what we've been thinking we get.
the 2145, I showed you that it's only $2 more.
Yeah.
From the 1,500 square. foot.
Okay, so tell us the bottom line.
bottom line is that as it stands right now,
We don't want it as it stands.
right, so.
I have been misreading this for years now.
Oh, everybody
The
has.
new bond.
That's why I'm
Fell right in there
recommending
with
the
you.
square,
Yeah.
price per square foot, that way. It can never be misconstrued, it's always so much a square
No
foot.
matter if it's a
Last
1,000
meeting,
square foot or 5,000 square foot.
last meeting I recommended making
Mhm.
$1.50 a square foot.
Yeah.
And that'll take care of. And you'll still,
But with everyone else already coming up to 250 seems reasonable.
well, Macon County is too big.
Yeah.
But
And then their fixing to go up.
Well, the maintenance still,
it just
Yeah.
went up,
we never,
They just went
ever
up.
need to be below maintenance. Yeah.
right.
Because we're closer to Nashville.
Yeah.
So what's 250 on a 1,500 square foot?
That's 3750.
That's why his,
Yeah, that's
he
why.
came
the 5,000
forward with 5,000 minimum. At 2140, there's a surcharge per square foot
Above that.
above that.
So we take the or out and we put an and there.
At.
Yeah.
Say 2140, 2150, whatever, find a number, 2100 even.
Yeah.
Find a number.
Yeah.
At 2100 even, whatever it is,
I like,
and then then there's a surcharge per foot beyond.
I like hers like
What's
I
that?
do too. Which one? That is the lower one?
250 or 260 or
That's not enough
275 or
money.
whatever.
The cost,
This
the impact's the same if it's a small house or a big house.
And if you do a bigger house, then you pay a little more for the impact.
37.
But it's
That's
still,
It's only $1,300.
at $5,000,
Just do a
it's the
flat
impact.
$5,000 and be done. with
And
it.
a big house at 250 adds up pretty quick to.
It gets to too much.
So are we now talking about just doing a flat? It's five, just like Wilson, it's 5,000 to build. And try
That's
to-
what I thought we were
Residential?
talking
That's
about
residential.
earlier.
Well, it may slow it down, may not.
It
I don't
won't.
know. It
Not
won't.
5,000. It's not gonna slow it down.
Not if, Lebanon's looking at going to 10,000.
What's his name right over here? In their office over here, he'll be, because he wants to be able to.
Well, I'm planning on doing that. so.
He's gonna bitch about it.
Yeah, he be,
I'm trying to do a truck.
any, all the builders are gonna be, so it don't
I
matter.
You gonna
appreciate
build
your
that on the
efforts.
farm?
Hmm.
You gonna build that on the farm?
I ain't got what I want yet.
I like the thought though. We have, that's what I thought we were talking about. Is this
Can we
not
agree on
correct?
that one?
Is this not correct? There's more small houses built. 5,000 is gonna bring us in more than the larger houses.
The impact's gonna be the same.
Impact's gonna, yes. I like that. I like the words he used.
All right, now what is the finance committee gonna do to it?
It's in the presentation. You handball this if it matters. The bills that become law in DC, it's a case study.
Mhm.
If somebody cares enough about that bill and they walk it through the entire process.
Without
handball
jumping
it,
down, agreeing to jump down too quick.
And you walk and handball the thing all the way through. The ratio of passing versus not is much higher. Than if you just throw it out there to the ethers and, cause it's in the presentation.
You need to provide examples and make it meaningful, make it relatable to
Yes.
those. who are
So
listening.
David can speak, you can
Yeah.
speak. I love Alan to speak, I mean, that's important. Judy can chime in, all of you can chime in those meetings, it's an open forum.
Well, but budget and finance. ain't
Budget and
exactly
finance is not,
open.
I'm talking about the commission. But budget and finance, we need one or two people to go in
We
there
do.
Yes.
to support it.
And, I agree. And, the state of Tennessee had no problem charging everyone with a covered vehicle $100 extra.
Yes, ma'am.
Did they ask me how it was gonna impact me? No, I was impacting their gas taxes.
Yep.
We just got to do this.
So,
What are you thinking, Alan?
No, I just didn't figure. So fast, if there was a 5,023, and then 585,000 not. What did we get off of it? You know?
A lot less than
Nowhere
that.
near that.
$500,000.
Yeah, we,
That board
we've been cheating ourselves for quite a long time.
Well, we've already figured out
I
it was
think
on
it
the
was so bad that,
5,000, that's
You know, just
875,000.
reading, you didn't think there was no way it was that.
Yeah, Because I mean, that ore has been killing this county.
Right here it is.
175 houses at $5,000.
It's $875,000 income to this county. That's great.
It pays a lot of bills. 875 will pay a lot of it. 500 will pay a lot of it.
All right,
It would make it simple, if there was a plan,
Well, that's just me getting away with. it. I guess.
Rick,
And so this is for this.
ask the wise man.
yeah,
Do you think it will slow us down?
Sorry,
Do you think it will slow the building down?
I don't either.
All right.
it can't go higher.
I would be cautious about going
Too much higher
Yeah,
at this juncture. 36 months from now, you can reconvene on this and see where it's at.
so what I'd like. Because we've had a whole lot of discussion with a whole lot of numbers.
Clean it up,
So
5,000 period.
I'm just asking for residential.
5,000.
I'm asking for a motion on any change to the residential.
Motion to take it to 5,000 flat.
So that's, in that motion, there's no increase above a certain square footage, it's just five, just like.
Because like you
Wilson
said,
County.
once you get it with those surcharges added, and like even if you went to the flat 250 or whatever, when you start getting the bigger houses, it gets to the point where it gets stupid fast.
So, in other words, they, 10,000 square foot, it's still 5,000.
And the impact will be the same.
Which is probably still more than we get right now.
It's a lot more than they get right now.
So I have a
We've
first
screwed
and a
ourselves
second.
for years.
On a motion to amend, for us to work on this ordinance. To amend it to a 5,000 flat on all residential. Well, I gotta have a first and a second.
Oh, okay,
I
I'm
just-
up for it.
I just wanted to make sure that everyone's clear on what the motion was, and that we would propose that change.
Yes.
It is a proposal of a change, we can't actually change it.
So we do need to, and it won't be me, I don't speak that well.
Yeah.
Who is going to be with David to hand walk this through the finance committee? I think both of you two should.
Yeah, well, we still gotta get this. We have a motion in a second.
Yeah, we still have to get this taken care of. Like I said, I just wanted to make sure everyone knew what you were voting on. So it's just a 5,000 flat on residential. All in favor?
No,
I guess.
under duress.
So that's residential. We will take up commercial and industrial next meeting.
I thought we had that worked out.
I don't think we quite do.
Like you said, it was 5,000 at a certain point you had in your square footage. We ended up at like on a 20,000 square foot building. You ended up at 30 something.
Is that what y'all want to do then?
I mean, it doesn't price them out into obscurity, but it gives us a definitive answer. We're not to drag this outside the first year.
Okay, so I mean, at
You have to
current,
say that slower.
Come on, what's your formula?
so at current, if you had your 5,000 flat. And what's already now is the 30 cents, taking the ore off, this would be in addition to, if you went above that 2140. At 30 cents, that gives you 10,358 on a 20,000 square foot building.
And at 50 cents, it was what?
At 50 cents, it's 13,930.
So yeah, at 2140.
Okay, now why are we doing 2141 commercial and stuff? Because you're not ever really gonna have.
Yeah.
Because it was a starting point. Now we can have conversation of
And
changing.
what's the average commercial good?
Well, Dollar Tree over here,
What's
10,000.
And,
Dollar General was about that, about 8,000. Other Dollar
They
Generals.
get plastic places fixed to build a fire con.
well, that's industrial.
It's gonna be really,
So let's swap that out now. So we're gonna break it off. We're just talking commercial right now.
okay.
So it's not,
4,000 square feet or bigger.
So that would be your,
you can do 5,000, 5,000, anything above 5,000 square feet.
so 5,000, get you 5,000, and then anything above that is 50 cents a.
Well, what do we think is fair on the average? I think that's a little.
Well, it's at 20,000 square feet, or
Yeah.
50 cents added to the 5,000 ends up being 13 grand. On a 20,000 square foot building, it's, several million dollars, 13
I ain't
million.
gonna stop nobody
No,
from building.
No, I don't, like I said, 10 to 30, 10 to 15,000, no, it's probably not gonna stop at the market.
Well, let me ask you, we, at present, there may be one or two 20,000 square feet buildings in town, but right now, it's more like, the things we have gotten so far
Mhm.
is Dollar Tree, Dollar General,
Fast paced health.
yes.
things like
So let's make our minimum to about what they are, whatever our minimum's gonna be,
Mhm.
and then go up from there.
that. Okay, so you're saying 10,000,
Is that what they are, about 10,000 square feet?
on average.
that wouldn't, what's fast paced? 4? 45?
I'm trying to remember, it's been a couple of years.
It's not big.
That's not,
It's not,
It's probably about 5,000.
That's why, what's wrong with the 5,000
Right.
5,000
That's the
for
base.
five,
for the baseline?
yeah,
yeah,
and then 50
50
cents.
cents above that.
50 cents above that.
I think that's simple math for anybody.
And that just adds like $2,500, so that would be $7,500.
Again, and
Impact fee for
so
the-
that would have been what the impact they were, been for Dollar Tree.
so
there's
you
nothing
know,
wrong with that.
so you know, like this coffee company just bought across from the jail and they're redoing. Now, would they have an impact?
No, it's
No.
existing
No,
building.
'cause, yeah,
Existing building.
existing building.
Even though they're redoing.
They got a
it.
permit,
Right.
we got a
They have-
permit out of
They
it.
have to pay permit fees, but not.
It's,
This is
From the
only
earth
new
up.
construction.
If you think about it, impact, you're moving dirt. And so you're making an impact into the ground. So that's when you do.
and you've got a driveway, you're impacting the roads coming out.
We have to pay the jail.
Water tower,
We may have to have a red light
I
someday.
mean, it's electric meter, all that kind of stuff.
All right,
I wrote one.
so we've got residential settled. So I'm willing to hear a motion on commercial.
Motion.
Okay, so commercial, I got a first on that, so the motion is for 5,000 flat rate for 5,000 square foot. And then 50 cents for every after 5,000.
5,001 foot and beyond.
In addition.
In addition, so no more or stuff, this is an
Keyword
addition.
in addition.
No, there's no more words, there's structure.
So why should the industrial be here?
Because of the size of the building,
So it
and
should,
there's less impact as far as the community.
They're not sending kids to, the
Not
warehouse is
less.
not sending anybody to school.
Might not be less impact for fire or for environmental
or for roads,
or for roads.
or for.
So it's a
law
different impact.
enforcement.
It is an impact of utilities.
Yeah, it should be something. Unless that was getting up. into
And
that.
That's where you get up,
them
Because now you're not
$50,000.
talking,
$75,000 to build a big warehouse, that's not good.
you're not encouraging that. And unless that's your goal is to discourage that type of development.
It's not to discourage it, but, do you know what Galton does?
But you,
So we got a
People on
motion
the
on
rearview
5,000, 5,050 cents.
I've got a motion, I don't have a second yet.
Second,
For what?
For commercial. Lonnie did the motion.
Okay.
Now, there's still discussion on whether we're including industrial into the same format for commercial.
that's why, man, let's get that.
No.
Don't get too much.
We'll do industrial
Let's,
separate.
let's do commercial before we do industrial. Get
Okay.
confused here.
All right, so commercial.
Oh, before you walk
seconded.
out, Lonnie,
rest
but both,
Oh, all in
you got
favor,
first and second.
yeah, I mean,
all in favor, I got one there.
All right.
Unanimous on commercial.
Oh,
All right, so industrial. I think you do the same and you just put a cap on how many square foot. I think that makes it the easiest, that's my opinion,
What differentiates commercial and industrial?
the use.
Like what?
Commercials like,
I don't know what
Manufacturing,
commercial is, what's industrial?
industrial will be manufacturing, we've got a whole list in our zoning of what can be done in,
plastic place, that'd be industrial.
that would be industrial.
I can't
It's more
remember.
wholesale
I
sales.
heard
it's
how
more
much it's gonna be,
manufacturing.
but he, man,
Industrial also includes any adult entertainment or adult,
That's industrial.
it is put in
he
industrial.
put it in industrial.
Actually, healthcare.
Uh, So like I said, my thought is we put a square footage cap on the impact fee for industrial. And so that keeps you, so we started 5,000 for 5,000. And then you take that up, that 50 cents so far up to, 20,000 cap. So you're 15,000. That might be too high, but that'd be 15,000 times 50 cents. That's $7,500 on top of your 5.
13.
Yeah, you'll get 13.5, which is where we were at the $2.50 or the 5,000 plus, that we did earlier. So yeah, you're right back up to that. Capping it at 20.
Okay. Yeah. What's some average industrial building?
Oh. You have any idea, Leslie? Average
What are those
industrial for
sizes
being
at?
built?
Um,
You see more of that than any of us.
2,300,
well,
25,000.
depending on. They haven't really built much out there right now. I know that there's a lot of discussion and they're working with engineers.
But what's out there currently, what are they looking, 20,000 plus square feet? Yeah, I'm just saying that if you had a baseline of 20,000 square feet.
I know the development down 840 where they built all the warehouses there, they've got the signs, buildings for lease. They're going anywhere from 50 to 60,000 square foot on those
Yes.
warehouses.
I
down
understand, but
there.
I'm saying that if we had a base,
Land.
if we had a baseline of 20,000 square feet,
Well, the discussion was of doing, so you pay your 5,000 for 5,000, but your additional 50 cents stops at 20,000 or stops at 25,000.
Well, why don't we just go, more than 5,000? If it's industrial,
These are 50,000 square foot building, that's pretty
That-
low fee.
Yeah,
I don't know how you gonna-
because if you cap it, I mean, you're still looking at $14,000 for of an impact fee on a 50,000 square foot, because you're stopping it at that 20,000. You want to raise that, because now we're not doing $2.50 a square foot.
no,
We're doing
I'm saying
50
that 20,000 as your baseline, anything over 20,000, we did it.
So take the 5, so it's 5,000 for 20,000 in industrial, and then anything above that is 50 cents.
5,000 for 20,000 square feet?
But look at that, it's a, you get sort of grab your calculator, though, when you go 50,000 square feet.
But when are we gonna get it 50,000?
Take one.
We when we're talking in here, we're talking 10, 20 years down
Well, I
the road.
understand that,
That's
but I mean.
something you
we're
gotta think
talking
about.
The average size we're gonna get, and we're making people pay 5,000 for their house.
They're not gonna,
But they're only paying, they pay the 5,000 as the impact fee for a new house. And then they pay property tax to help pay for things. That same business is paying 10 times the property tax because of the value of that building.
The president pays 1.3 or $1.5 million a year. Property tax.
alone in property taxes.
Do you understand what we're trying
I
not
do
to,
understand, to me, it's low, but
is you're still wanting to encourage industrial and commercial to come in.
Yeah. And then after.
You're wanting to
you
slow
don't
the
think
residential.
5,000 is too low?
That's the base for up to a certain
Up to
square.
20,000 square.
Make
feet.
it 10,
Then over
they'll
that,
just make it 10.
I want. 10 too high?
I would, I would.
No,
Not
I'm
to
saying,
discount industrial.
that's what I'm saying, is it make up $5,000 to 10,000 square feet, after 10,000 square feet. you hit it with
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
You're saying-
You wanna give job
50
creators
cents.
a bonus. You don't wanna
absolutely.
put a burden on them that might cause them to go somewhere else.
That's right, we don't wanna run them away.
Yeah, once you get the hook, or to be able to set it.
We've gotta have incentives in place for them to wanna locate here.
Yes.
They're gonna pay out the butt on property taxes.
You get it too high, they won't.
That's right.
Because you know, we're really being set up very, very well for our county here with this road going in, being completed in 3 years. With the port being put in over there at PowerCom, logistically speaking, this is going to be a great hub for industry.
Right now, that's the only place we can build
Is it in Tri-State?
industrial. park.
Yes, the port.
It's there back with nuclear. plant.
Mhm. They're already dredging and clearing it out.
They're addressing it out, now they're fixing to
Mhm.
come in.
So we're getting all kinds of calls about what's allowed out there, how tall the building can be.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Well, let's keep it 20 foot.
I don't know if I believe it.
Yeah.
Did they give it to you? Chris?
Okay, so let's clean this up and get this done.
Yes.
We got there.
Well, that's what I was trying to lay it out so I could see it and kind of explain it. So 5,000 for 10,000 acre or 10,000 square foot. And then if you capped it at 20, I'm just trying to see what a 50,000 square foot building would run. On the two different ways of where we put that cap at. So you do,
Oh, but is there a cap or just leave it?
Ooh, good question. I would try to keep it low. You want to. The idea of the impact fee is to cover the cost, or try to cover the cost of what it puts on the community. What that impact is, and the industrial impact is gonna be lower than it is residential, so let's, you don't want to
Now, the
overload.
people that are gonna come here and run that plant,
So I would,
the
I would
big
just keep
bosses
it
and
flat.
stuff, they'll have children. And they'll want a good school,
But maybe we
big
can
house,
get
big houses and good
big
schools.
houses and maybe
But-
we'll get a grocery
but-
store.
The thing is that like he was saying, is that they're not negatively impacting it in the sense that they're not sending kids to our school, they're not doing that sort of
Right.
stuff on a daily
I
basis.
look at it as
It's an
you.
employer.
I look at it as
Employer.
use.
What
They're
about
not using
5,000
as much of the county as
This
a house.
county is wanting to get commercial in. Why don't we say any commercial come, 5,000, that's
In
it.
industrial.
Yeah,
Because we're already
Nice.
in commercial. Gotcha.
Even if it's 7,500.
yeah. We want you. Give them a
What-
break.
What do you think, Tom?
I think we get too high and we won't.
Is 75 too high, 7,500?
I think that'd be on
They're going to another county.
And give them the money. The 7,500 too high.
Let's stick with
Just like,
5,000. Let's stick with 5,000.
Columbia.
all right, let me shoot some
Yes.
numbers at Joe.
They want to cross the county line.
Yeah,
They ran them
Make
over.
it candidates, come on in.
They wanted, they tried to come here.
All right, so the two ways we've been discussing this on industrial. So 5,000 gets you 10,000 square foot.
No, 5,000.
Hold on.
Let it finish.
Let's 5,000 gets you 10,000 square foot. That's one rate, and then 50 cents above that capped at 20,000. So you're paying 50 cents on 10,000 added to your base of 5,000. On a 50,000 square foot warehouse, that's $10,000. You're paying impact fee. If you do a 5,000 gets you 5,000, like we were doing for commercial. You still cap at 20,000 square foot at 50 cents extra a square foot. That gets you 12,500 on a 50,000 square foot.
I get it. Let me ask you this, would you guys be opposed on industrial use doing a flat of 7,500?
I like a flat of 5,000. I would go with a flat of 75. But just flatten it. We want them big.
I mean, that's the thing, we want them to build, we don't want them to have any reason to take their little calculator and say, we can move so many feet that way across county line. And save money.
So why don't you say 5?
On
This-
industrial, it just.
On
be
industrial,
7,500.
75,
I go with that.
7,500.
Okay.
Because they're still going to impact.
I'm fine.
They're not innocent. We're just trying to make it attractive.
Commercial, then it would be.
Is that too high?
I don't think so, not at all.
I mean, 7,500 on a multi-million-dollar development is nothing.
No.
They waste that.
That's a couple of lunches for
And that's
this
just impact thing, permit fees will take care of everything.
in taxes.
And won't they have to, blast? 300 extra.
I guarantee. it.
So your motion
Motion to.
75 flat, no matter what square foot.
Yeah, I'm not motion to 7,500 for
Industrial impact.
Okay.
Flat, I mean, no matter what.
Nice. Thank you, sir.
Clean.
All in favor?
Right.
Favor?
Flavor too.
It passes. So we will get this cleaned up. I will have a clean copy of this amendment for the next meeting. And if there's, you have anything, Rosalie?
Can't that
Not
go?
tonight.
Not so.
Not
Can't
tonight.
that
Congratulations to the newly elected officers.
Rick, what you got?
We talked about railroad spur and property. Yeah. That's Broadway and Depot Street. And the tire store and the crosshatch is
Is the railroad bed.
railroad property. Now, it fluctuates, it goes, I'm just gonna run out to the county line.
Yeah, that's 141.
Mhm. It's in the right of way sometimes. And then it veers off, it's not in the right of way, and Browning Branch Road sort of parallels, and it's different widths. But all this is abandoned property that's not been claimed or has not gone through the process of being added until you get to a few property owners there that have added it back in. They've taken that railroad property, abandoned property, and put it with theirs. But it skips around, it's not all the way through. You get to the county line,
And it disappeared.
it does, it goes across into Sumner County,
For a
where
little
it
stretch.
doesn't show up. And I was curious, what happens up at Bransford? You know, where the old railroad used to come out there right at the intersection there at the creek. There's no railroad property there. But if you're going up toward Westmoreland, it pops back out.
Yeah.
It pops back out where the old bridge was. So it's still there in pieces. They've got some of it,
Okay.
same situation, but
And in the case that they decide they wanna run a railroad through there again, though, they're gonna use what they own.
they could
And
be
they'll
like,
take eminent domain over what people have reclaimed and they'll put it back in.
Yeah.
so it's okay to
So it's
leave it in there.
Okay.
And honestly, railroad is the cheapest form of logistical transportation
Absolutely.
we have in this country.
Absolutely.
After
They,
what passed in Nashville at this election, they're gonna be trying to push a little more railroad, so.
when they were first talking about the nuclear plant, there was a discussion of running a rail spur all the way through to the nuclear plant, to haul some of the heavy equipment and the pieces and parts. that
It
went in
wouldn't
out
be
there.
outside the realm of possibility in the next
It's
15 years
already
for us to have rail
along.
from Charleston County back in town.
Yeah.
Back in- yeah.
Or for the nuclear plant to be up and running again in a smaller version.
You understand what's in play on there, right?
Yeah, it's actually very easy to happen too. I understand.
But that might get us a big AI hub in one of these big warehouses running off the electricity of that nuclear plant. I know Microsoft looking at buying 3 Mile Island and firing it back up for their server farm.
What they do, nuclear up there would be gas fired.
Well, 3 Mile Island, they're looking at doing nuclear. There were some rumblings that came out of the Enbridge talks when TVA came. There were some things that the lady from TVA kind of let slip about future projects.
Yeah, she, right.
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah, well, let's do that.